unlike direct awakening practices, these concentration practices are a form of skill development. Concentration is a skill. It's a kind of a cognitive skill, capacity, and you're practicing to get better at it. And the great thing about concentration practice is if you do it right, you will get better at it very quickly if you're diligent about it. The results you get from this kind of practice are remarkable if you do it over and over in terms of building concentration.
Welcome to Meditation Changes Everything with spiritual teacher Craig Hamilton, a podcast exploring the deeper potentials of meditation practice and how it can change every aspect of human life. This episode is part 3 of our series on the foundations of meditation. Today, Craig explores the importance of developing powerful concentration to support our ability to focus in meditation. If you ever struggle to stay present and attentive during meditation, you're not alone. In our world of constant distractions, many of us find it increasingly challenging to give all of our attention to anything. In this episode, Craig shares a simple practice for developing concentration that will give you real and immediate results. We hope you enjoy the show. Here's Craig.
So, what do I mean by foundations? Well, there are concentration practices that can help support your concentration. There's work on our motivation and intention that can have be the powerful driver for all of our practice. Particularly motivation, what I'll call motivational, cultivating enlightened motivation or right motivation for practice, for awakening, can have a very profound impact on the path, on what happens in our practice. There are also environmental factors that support quality practice. There are some postural elements, just sort of very basic physical things about how we hold ourselves, etc. So none of these are the main event, but each of these are things that if we get them right, or get these foundation stones laid, we will often find they will powerfully support the more radical liberation and awakening practices that we're doing here. So I think what I want to say is the foundation isn't something you just build once. You do try to build it once, and then you keep reinforcing it, strengthening it, deepening it. There are aspects, for instance, of enlightened motivation and intention that you can't really access at first. That is something that deepens as you deepen. You have a taste of awakening that can help inform your motivation to practice. But once you have deeper experiences of awakening and more established, you start to understand and get a deeper sense of what it is. That can powerfully increase your motivation to practice. You start to really get why it matters so much. But meditators often struggle. We find our mind is busy. We say we have a monkey mind, a busy mind. It distracts us from our practice. What we're talking about is what would traditionally be called a lack of concentration. We're not good at concentrating on the practice, so we're letting our attention wander all over the place, away from the practice. But concentration is something that can be cultivated. And in fact, in many of the wisdom traditions, doing extensive concentration practice was part of the regimen. In fact, in some meditative traditions, it's all about concentration. That's what they do. They're doing concentration practices. Here in the practice of direct awakening, learning concentration practice is not essential. I could easily make the argument that you don't need any concentration to be free. You're just simply learning how to bring your attention to your true nature, Doesn't matter if your mind's active, doesn't matter if you're having a lot of emotional upheaval. Those are powerful times to just be awake and be practicing awakening. So that's a very valid argument. It's one I do make, but because I'm here trying to help lay down some fundamentals and foundations, I want to say that this can be a supportive piece also. And I believe it's worth all of us spending a little bit of time learning a basic concentration practice that we can draw on, particularly at times when there is an unusual amount of distraction or agitation in our life. So for instance, let's say, in general, you find you're able to do the meditation practices, and then suddenly you have a lot going on in your life. It could be really difficult things or really exciting opportunities, whatever it is, but a lot's happening that's consuming every waking moment. You're just consumed by it. Now, again, that could be a powerful moment for waking up. We could say, wow, even amidst all of that, see if you can recognize your true nature that isn't grasping for any of that or isn't resistant to any of that. We can have powerful awakenings amidst difficulty. It can be a powerful catalyst. However, you might also find that it's just very hard to meditate during those times. The mental chatter is overwhelming, or the kind of tension or anxiety is all consuming. And it's times like these where it can be helpful to do a bit of concentration practice as a precursor to the direct awakening practice, meaning you do a little concentration practice before you get into the awakening practice. And so I talked about extreme circumstances for any of us, but there are also those of us typologically who just find our monkey minds always in overdrive when we try to meditate. We feel it's very hard to meditate with our mind going off all the time. And so for if you're in that category, it can also really help you to do some concentration practice to really draw your focus into one place before you do the deeper practice. So I'm going to teach you a simple practice you can do to develop concentration. I'm going to show you the practice that you can do for the sake of developing concentration itself. And one other thing to say about concentration practice before I teach you the practice is that unlike direct awakening practices, these concentration practices are a form of skill development. Concentration is a skill. It's a kind of a cognitive skill, capacity, and you're practicing to get better at it. And the great thing about concentration practice is if you do it right, you will get better at it very quickly if you're diligent about it. The results you get from this kind of practice are remarkable if you do it over and over in terms of building concentration. So, the simple concentration practice that I think is the easiest one to do and to really get bang for your buck, get real results from, is paying attention to the cycle of the breath. So this is a concentration practice of staying with our breath. So our breath is always happening. There is a cycle of breath that is always going on. We don't cause it. It doesn't require any of our attention to occur. It's just happening. And the goal of this practice is to bring our full attention to the movement of the breath in and out, and to stay fully attentive to the cycle of breath throughout the entire cycle and the next cycle and the next. If you were doing this practice perfectly, it would mean that your attention never left the breath cycle. Your attention stayed with the breath 100% of the time during your meditation practice. Now, of course, that's a very lofty goal for most of us starting into a practice like this. So we're not going to be worried about what percentage of the time we're able to stay with it. Our only goal is to stay with it in every moment, and whenever our attention wanders off of it and we notice that's happened, we just come directly back to paying attention to the breath. And that's all we do. Now, when I say staying with the breath, paying attention to the breath, you don't need to be too concerned about exactly how you're paying attention to the breath. If you just take a moment now to observe the movement of breath, you'll notice that the sensation of breathing is detectable in a number of different ways. You might feel a bit of breath going in and out of your nose or mouth. You might notice there's a sound of the breath going in your nose. You can hear the breath. You notice that your abdomen and your chest rise and fall as the breath goes in and out. This practice doesn't require us to focus intently on any one of those things. So just be easeful and open about how you pay attention to the breath. Whatever part of the breath draws your attention, whatever is easiest to pay attention to. Maybe it's the expansion and contraction of your belly. Maybe it's the sound of the breath going in and out of your nostrils, or something else. Doesn't matter. The key here is staying with it. There are 3 parts to the breath cycle that we're going to pay attention to. There's the in-breath, the out-breath, and a pause between the out-breath and the next in-breath. And our goal is to stay with the breath cycle through all 3 of those phases. So let's just do it now for a couple minutes, and then I'll add a few more instructions. This can also be eyes open or closed. For a couple minutes now, just allow yourself to give all of your attention, every moment, every millisecond, to the full period of the in-breath, the full period of the out-breath. And during the pause between the out-breath and the in-breath, just allow your attention to go to the stillness of that pause, the stillness of that space between breaths. Just pay attention to the quality of stillness. It's a stillness that's in the body. It's a stillness in awareness. And so we begin. One thing that can help us maintain focus on the breath is to realize that the in-breath and the out-breath both have different parts to the cycle. There's the beginning of the in-breath, the middle of the in-breath, the end of the in-breath, that then leads to the beginning of the out-breath, the middle of the out-breath, and the end of the out-breath. And there's the beginning of the pause, the middle of the pause, the end of the pause. The point here is not to break the cycle into discrete parts, but to try to stay with it through all of those parts of the cycle. The in-breath takes a little while. Stay with it the entire time. The out-breath takes a little while. Stay with it, beginning, middle, and end. The pause also lasts a little while. stay with that stillness the whole time without wandering away. When doing a practice like this, it's natural that our attention wanders away from the practice from time to time. For some of us, we'll find that it wanders over and over again. Doesn't matter how many times it wanders. Each time you realize, oh, my attention has wandered off onto my mind. I'm trying to solve a problem or process some past event or plan something. I've moved away from staying with the breath. Just immediately, without hesitation and without question, return to paying attention to the breath wherever you are in the cycle. Return immediately to it without any problem or distress or worry or concern. It's just what happens. It's how this process works. But each time you come back to following the breath, return to it with a little more intensity, a little more focus than you had before. Re-engage the practice with more determination to focus. Not with any fear, not with any tension, not with any worry, just with greater resolve, greater focus. want to invite you now to gently let go of your meditation practice. You no longer need to pay attention to the breath. Just allow your attention to relax and open. If your eyes are closed, you can open them. Look around. There's no need to try to hold on to anything you experience doing this practice. But just notice the effect it has on your consciousness, on your psyche, now and as you go through your day. And with that, we'll bring our practice to a close. Thank you.
If the approach to meditation we've been exploring today inspires you, you are invited to tune into a 90-minute online workshop Craig will be hosting called Meditation 2.0, The Miracle of Direct Awakening. In the workshop, he'll share a powerful new approach to meditation practice and guide you in a series of brief meditation experiments so you can experience it for yourself. You can listen to that at freemeditationworkshop.com. That's freemeditationworkshop.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, we hope you'll share our show with others. And please subscribe and rate us wherever you listen to your favorite shows. If you have a minute to write a short review on your podcast app, we would deeply appreciate your support. You can stay connected to the show by subscribing to our newsletter at meditationchangeseverything.com. Each week, we'll send you new audios and videos from Craig, and we'll also let you know when we release new episodes of the show. For a deeper experience of Craig's approach to meditation, consider joining our Awakened Life membership program. Each month, you'll receive in-depth teachings and guidance, including a meditation workshop, 4 guided meditations, and a live online retreat with Craig. And when you register today, you can receive your first month for 50% off. Go to awakenedlifemembership.com to learn more and enroll. That's awakenedlifemembership.com. Check out our show notes for links to all the ways you can stay in touch with Craig's work. Meditation Changes Everything is created by Craig Hamilton, Susan Fries, Mason Ewald, Stephanie Murphy, Will Bowman, and Richard Klein. From all of us, thank you for tuning in.